in combat sports and how they connect to real life. I'm Dervin here with my co-host Nate, and this week got everything: a UFC betting scandal shaking up the sport, Jake Paul boxing match canceled, Missy Barber's health struggles before UFC 323, Charles Oliveira calling out Max Holloway for the BMF title, UNC Pembroke hosting the PJ Smith Open, and Ronda Rousey opening up big time on Kreischer's Burkcast podcast. How's it going, man?
It's going good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. How's it feel after Halloween season?
Spooky.
You get enough candy?
Ah, I did very well this year, actually. I held off and I only had a couple pieces.
I seen a video of this guy that he was doing a his Halloween costume was a once people that dealer for like a blackjack table. He has a table on the driveway.
Yes.
Kids like betting the candy, so whoever wins get a full size bar or full size candy. Just racking up that way. Like, dude, that's the perfect custom right there.
That is? Yep.
You can replenish candies that you're giving out, and you're dealing big full size candies for other kids. And like, if you're not, if you know betting, you're not winning. That's what you're telling the kids.
That's so funny. Teaching them young.
Yeah, I start doing dice next year for mine.
Yeah.
Cause I ain't got no table. Just gonna start doing dice. But since we are on the betting side, wanna go into side with the UFC betting scandal going on. Uh, right now they're dealing with a betting scandal. And yeah, people questioning the integrity of the sport. Um, so what happened was uh, this past week, there's a fighter, Isaac Tugarian, is his name. If Tugarian, yeah, that's how you say his name. He was in the fight, and according to Dana White, he reached out to him before the fight because there was something fishy going on as far as like the betting lines before he went in there. Dana White, he did a TMC interview regarding that about how he went back and looked at the fight after that, and he looked fishy. How he looked like a flop or they call it like a work in when it comes to like in wrestling. They call that. He called the FBI immediately after that to do investigating. He said he was the one that led the way about the investigation. Um, what like how crazy is that? Because Dana White comes from the boxing world, and he
Hmm.
said that's what ruined boxing. Different organizations that were dealing with each other, and also the gambling and betting
Yep.
destroyed the integrity of the sport.
I mean that's believable. For sure. I'm really curious to see um like how deep they go into it. Hopefully they're able to find, a lot about like when it started and all that. It would be really interesting to see because like every now and then, there I don't know. There's always fights that you question, like God, like how did that happen? I'm just
Yeah,
curious how long it's been going on or, anything like that. Um, I'm also curious like why do the fighters that have been approached, why are they quiet? You know what I mean?
yeah. They should have said something about it
Right.
instead of like after the fact about because it will make things a lot easier, especially a sport that's it's more like a pure sport because you can always have a winner or loser. Very seldom you see a draw, and that's the reason why you love the sport.
Mhm. Yeah.
But now that you see that, we were talking about that betting a few weeks ago about betting on yourself, but then can you bet against yourself? Apparently, that's the thing with this guy.
Yeah. Right.
Figure
Somebody's doing it.
yeah. So like, it's a trust process in the sport. But a lot of fighters also they don't get paid as much as others. So I
Mm.
know that might be a factor too. But also another thing is not just the fighters that taking money. What if like officials also are being involved because that's a
Mhm.
big issue because
Mhm.
well in basketball they were having that problem. Basketball coaches, they have been uh, arrested. Like Chauncey Billups was one of them. The FBI um, arrested him. They did a press conference about him, but officials in the NBA is different than officials for the UFC, because the NBA, they have their own commission, they're their own organization. But for the UFC, most of the time they use the state athletic commission.
Hmm.
So it seems like it will be like you have bigger repercussions if you're a referee for an MMA event and you are taking money or taking gambling on that.
Right. Yeah. It seems like you'd be a lot more open to that type of thing if you weren't careful.
Yeah, especially in Vegas. I wish I can
Yeah.
see
Yeah. Right.
judges being swayed that way too.
Hmm.
Which that's a problem with boxing have,
Okay. Yep.
because you see a boxing match and you can clearly see one guy won, but the judges give it to the guy that actually was losing. It's
Hmm.
so transparent as far as like who's winning or losing.
Yeah.
But like you can sway judge if it's, especially if it's a close match. You can just, yeah, it'll be terrible for the sport if
Right.
that happens. Um, how do, like when money or attention is on the line, how do you keep integrity intact at that point?
When money or what is on the line?
Like money or temptation is on the line because
Mm,
you have people to feed, you have your coaches to pay for, you
right.
have a camp that you pay for, you have all this, you have your family, whatever's left off is comes back to your pocket.
Mm,
The higher you climb, the less chances of you to winning, because
mm,
that the going gets tough. And you're between winning the fight and getting so much money, or chance of taking the dive, and eventually you're able to come back and run for the title again. If nobody knows about it, that's just
mm.
the one fight that gets you through, so you get you out of a hole, or being dead. You can see, why some people maybe will take a dive for it.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, for sure. A lot of the most of the people in the UFC are not wealthy anyway, and
Hmm.
then you get offered that kind of money. I mean, I'm sure that's very tempting because it's guaranteed, really. Um, because I mean, losing's a lot easier than winning. So,
Yeah,
uh, yeah, I definitely see where the temptation would come from. Uh, but yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously the consequences are pretty steep if you
yeah,
get caught.
yeah. You definitely should get banned,
Right. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
because it opens a
Banned,
floodgate.
fined, all of it probably.
Yeah, and not just by banned by the organization, but also like the athletic commission, because most of
Exactly.
the fighters have to be clear, physical. The athletic commission, all this is government
Hmm.
officials that are involved in this
Yep.
sport compared to other ones. Speaking of money controversy, Jake Paul's boxing match just got canceled again. Um, he had a fight coming up 9 days from now, November 14th, against Gervonta Davis. The decision comes days after Davis was accused of a civil lawsuit filed by his ex-girlfriend, Courtney Russell, of battery, aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentionally infliction of emotional distress. That's
Hmm.
the report, according to ESPN report, why the fight was called off.
That'll do it.
Yeah,
Those are
yeah,
yeah, those are quite the accusations.
yeah. He pushed a, which at the beginning it felt like it was a gimmick match, because I mean somebody's 135 pounds versus somebody's 200 pounds.
Yeah. No, I mean I agree. It's yeah, he's just doing what he does, I guess, making himself the villain. But
Yeah. Jake Paul likes also making himself a villain, but wait, he found somebody else that was a villain and actually has charges on him for
yeah,
real.
yeah, right. Trying to make himself the good guy this time.
Yeah. um, but I feel bad for all the fighters that are in there to try and make this because it's a Netflix event too. You'll be broadcasting.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. Definitely would have brought some money in for them.
Yeah. But another trying to find another opponent. Well, it's not the first time Jake Paul had a fight canceled too. Because remember the first time that Jake Paul was supposed to fight, Mike Tyson was supposed to be like the weekend of 4th of July, but it was canceled. Moved back later on the year because Mike Tyson has some, I think it's like ulcerative colitis, or he has some sort of um GI issues,
Mm,
or I can't remember what it was that he had, but he was moved for later on in the year. But this one doesn't like mean it's more not so much if a clearance health issues wise, but more of a, a legal issue
legal, yeah.
for you.
Mm,
So the promotion said the fans who purchased tickets to the event via Ticketmaster will be refunded for their money. So it doesn't look good. Damn it, it sucks because so many organizations go under
right.
for things like that, like their Maybank crashes.
Yep.
Um,
Mm,
but
yeah, that's
we'll
painful.
yeah. Well, this is supposed to be the third fight between Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva. He was
Oh,
gonna be
really?
in this card too.
Ah, okay. I do remember Silva had a fight. I forgot who it was against though.
Yeah, he that's how I found out was Wyman. He posted something his story about this fight was off the
Mhm.
main event. I'm seriously doubted that Silva and Wyman will be able to carry the car
Right.
for
No. No way.
boxing.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
what do you think about the like consistency of versus high between Jake for Jake Paul because he's known for being like a YouTuber guy, but his record I think 12-1. He has 7 finishes. Do you think he has the respect yet as a boxer,
No.
or do you think he just padding his record
No.
as much as
Yeah.
possible?
Yeah. I feel like he's padding it. I mean,
Because I'm
I don't. What's that?
no, go ahead.
I don't know. I just feel like, I mean, although some of the guys he's fought were good fighters, it seems like he's fought nobody in their prime, nobody the same size, nobody like none of them have been like a what I would call an even fight. You know what I mean? I, I mean,
Mm.
clearly he's good. I'm not denying that. Like clearly he's decent. But is he professional like boxer level? As in he could go into a division his weight class in boxing and do well? I don't think so.
Yeah, the only guy that was close to his prime, was the same way as him was Tommy Fury, and that's how he lost that fight.
Yeah.
Somebody that has a legacy of not so much himself, but a family of boxers.
Mhm.
I see how you did against them.
Yeah.
Do you think this affects the trust of fighters, like motivation, like crossover into boxing? For example, like the women and Anderson Silva, because of cars falling off like this.
Affects the trust?
Yeah, like as far as like fighters like crossing over from a sport to boxing for promotion like this.
I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't think so. I mean, it seems like for any event, really, it's a possibility because UFC's also had, title fights drop out last minute. You got John Jones, who's huge, and he dropped out multiple times. Um, yeah, personally, I don't think so.
Okay.
Would you think?
Um, to a little bit, yes, because this is more like exhibition matches rather than that official matches. So
Ah, okay. Hmm.
I think in my especially if you cross something from one sport to another, because you like giving up the MMA side and jump into boxing
Hmm.
to a new, it's difficult. Boxing is difficult to earn money, but once you start making money, you're a top dog.
Yeah.
The reason that's the reason why Ngannou said he decided to go the MMA avenue rather than boxing because he had to have so many matches before he was called pro or like be
Mm,
considered a good fighter. But if you're an MMA fighter and you have good hands,
mhm.
especially in the heavyweight division, you have to knock people out. You get notoriety a lot faster. And within maybe 5, 6, 5 winning streaks, you be able to contend for that title in a big organization. Compared to boxing, it takes a while for it to
Yeah,
build.
that's true. They do. Yeah, they tend to have a like huge record in boxing. It seems like,
Yeah.
but that's interesting.
Yeah. Now going to north side of the fight world, the story of resilience and struggle. Macy Barber just opened up about what she went through before UFC 323. If you guys don't remember well, she was supposed to fight was it last year against Erin Blanchard, and she made the walkout because she had collapsed and she had seizures, but she didn't know what happened. She remembers that she just woke up in the ambulance, but she remember what happened between her walking out and her ended up in the ambulance trying to figure out what was going on. Um, you said that she has knee injury that has derailed her career. Um, she had also had moved to Denver. She had mono along the way. This is she's gonna have a long recovery. According to the doctor, said that about a year for recovery.
Hmm.
And then also she was diagnosed. She had a large spleen, which like she will get hit hard. Um, she would like possibly die. That's what she was told. And then now this issue she had neurological issues that she might have. Um, they're trying to figure out what's going on, why she um like, especially has issues like that. What she never had them before. She was I think the UFC a performance center. Oh no, Performance Institute, UFCPI. They sent her to Boston College to study, see what neurological issues she might have. Like that's one of the top schools for that. And they started to figure out. Another thing was she had blood pressure issues as well.
Hmm.
That she addressed in the article.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. It seems like she was a pretty promising fighter coming up, and
Mhm.
then the first thing that I remember happening was she had a knee injury. I think she had to get a surgery on that, so she was out for a long time. And after that, it's just been one thing after another taking her out of the game, and it really, I mean, that's got to be incredibly disheartening.
Yeah, and it is disheartening, disappointing, and because you put so much in the line for building. She's in a 6-5 winning streak.
Mhm,
Um, Something like that is demoralizing. So every time you try and build yourself back up into the performance of your career, next fight, um, something bad happens. And the thing about it is because she's in a 6-5 winning streak, is she's building herself up. It's not like at the beginning of her career that she's like building herself up to like be a challenger or opponent that is at the same level as her. But this is somebody that has been fighting probably 3 times already since the last time she had fought.
mhm.
And it seems like division will pass her by if she doesn't catch up, try jumping back in the train. But her own body is her own um worst enemy.
Mhm.
I think the same thing happened to I know you remember Sabine Magomed Sharipov. He's a 145 pounder. He was like really really good Russian.
Hmm.
Mark Henry was his coach, but he was really good. Cody Sahang, I think, was one of the guys that giving good run for his money. But he had heart issues. That's why he stopped fighting. But he was like dominating. He was drawing people. His striking was good. There's a Russian that was able to grapple and was a good striker at the same time. But he had heart issues and eventually he became a doctor. He got his PhD after he retired.
Wow. Okay.
I
He
guess
must
he
have been
used
good at
the
striking.
Yeah.
He didn't get hit in the head much.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, yeah. It didn't affect him at all.
Yeah.
But he just I took that and just decided to become a doctor, which is why. But he was so good. Agame Sharipov, that's his name.
Yep. Wow.
But
That's
it
that's a
sucks whenever
full
you're
full career.
yeah. It sucks whenever you're that good, but your own body is your worst enemy.
Hmm.
You keep trying to find for ways to win, but then you keep just giving yourself obstacles.
Seems like that's not uncommon with a lot of people that like are trying to, get to the top level. It seems like injuries and things like that can be what hold people back.
Hmm.
And it seems like
Yeah,
some people are just more prone to it than others for whatever reason.
yeah, like Dominic Cruz,
Hmm.
somebody that's good and his knees were trash.
Yep.
Um, Another one, Cain Velasquez, another example.
Hmm.
He has good back issues after that. I think he one point he fell off a horse that tore his shoulder off. He had to get surgery for that. But what do you think about mental toughness versus health trade off? Like, what's the point of diminishing return in which in your career you just call it like, dude, like I have to live the rest of my life in my own body. If I
Hmm.
give everything into this sport and still don't come out with a belt out of this, what's the point of doing it?
Yeah. That is so hard because I don't know. There's some people where I feel like you see it coming. You know what I mean? They're always pushing themselves like, "Oh, injured, it's okay. I'm still training." And they eventually just break themselves and they can't do it anymore. But then there's also these like people that just stand out where they're doing the same thing and for somehow they can keep going. So I don't know what the deciding factor is there, but I feel like
Like Maravelashvili,
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's like he just doesn't stop.
always active and just nonstop like a freight train.
Hmm.
A little freight train like the ones they put in Christmas tree, but
Yeah.
nevertheless, a freight train.
Yes.
Always going, never stopping. But what do you call it? Like, what do you make the decision? Do you think your coaches have to make the decision for you, or do you think the athlete itself have to do it?
I think a coach should be the major factor there. Yeah. Um, I I feel like as an athlete, really the best athletes are the ones that are going to be trying to go all the time, and then the coach should be the one that says, "Nah," like because the coach should know from looking on the outside. That's something that a lot of times is easier to see from an outside perspective. So I would think a coach, should be the deciding factor. Like, nah, you're too injured. You need to like sit this one out for a little bit. So yeah, I would think a coach would definitely play a major role in, um, making the right call for the student.
Yeah, it is something that you trust in your coach. Just like you
Hmm.
trust him, you guide us. Also, you have to trust him whenever you have to pull back. So, because
Yep.
sometimes some athletes are too tough for their own good.
Hmm.
They don't know when to stop. But sit out a day or something.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the hard thing is, for the athlete, they don't want to be, a wuss. You don't want to just, you know, call out on any little injury that you have. So you want to just push through everything. Well, yeah, that may not be the best decision, and that requires a external perspective, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially for health issues, because I also understand, like for example, my wrist hurt, my thumb hurts, or something like that. Like that's like different than compared to cardiovascular issue,
Yeah.
kidney failure. Those are things that you need for the rest of your life. Those
Hmm.
organs, brain getting knocked out all the time.
Hmm.
Like, dude, like that's not good for your health wise.
Hmm.
Um, but it is it is tough to make decision for your athletes too. because you build
Yeah.
them up to be that good, and then like, dude, we had to stop. This is the end of the
Mhm.
road.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, the coaches invested a lot too, so they want to see the the athlete succeed. But yeah,
Yeah,
how do you make that call? I don't know. That's so subjective.
yeah. And I mean, sometimes the athlete might make a decision. You know what? I don't need you anymore. I just need to get another coach. And
Right.
that's not at that point. Just out of the coaches and the athletes, he
True.
wants to keep going. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I support him and believe in him. But I'm my not my medical opinion, but my professional opinion. Should probably just hang it up because
Right.
you wanna keep a friend for a long time rather than see my athlete die on the ring.
Hmm.
And that's a decision that he had to make at the point. Um, Speaking of female athlete, Ronda Rousey recently she was in the Bear Crusher Bearcast um podcast, and she has some good some choice of word regarding fans for MMA. Um, she said MMA fans in media are most what have you done lately for us crowd any sport. She used the comparison of you look at WWE and they have social reverence for their legends. MMA is like the second you're not on the top, you're not shit, and you never were shit. You were never shit. She wanted to mention like UFC greats, how the answer turned on them as far as careers extended. She talked about Chuck Liddell, Quinton Jackson, Mike Tyson, GSP, Anderson Silva, Fedor Emelianenko. And before stopping on X lightweight kingpin Khabib Nurmagomedov. She said she had little to say about that. I think the only reason why MMA have their lips so firmly planted at the base of Khabib's cock is because he retired before he reached his limit. If he kept fighting until he reached his limit, everybody will be like Khabib ain't shit. He never was shit. What do you think about her opinion regarding MMA fans?
I mean, clearly she's extremely better. She left on like horrible terms. I feel like is a lot of the reason that people don't really care because I don't know. I think of like Tony Ferguson. He got demolished at the end of his career in the UFC, but still, I would consider him. He's a legend. Same thing with Jose Aldo. Well, he's done better lately, but for a while there, he had a pretty rough losing streak. Um, I still he's one of the legends of the sport. I don't think that's it. I mean, some people like Tony Ferguson. I wished he would retire faster because I don't like watching him get beat up. But uh, no, I think that's completely wrong. I mean,
Yeah, she missed the mark as far as like the fans.
yeah,
Yeah, also a lot of people watch the sport because of the love of the sport. They like being a fan of sport. On the way in, the career of fighters is not that long either, so they go up and down. But you have also the factor in which sometimes the sport itself it surpasses the skills of the fighters. Like for example, the she used of Chuck Liddell. He was a brawler, but then there were more mixed martial artists that came along the way. They were able to beat him, like Rashad Evans was a good wrestler, but also he had a good striker. Was able to beat Chuck Liddell. And there's a difference of losing matches and decisively being knocked out and putting out later on in your career. In
mhm,
which that's what happened to her. The last fight was 48 seconds versus Amanda Nunes. She got destroyed.
yeah,
So she might be bitter about that
yeah,
losing that way. I mean, if you're getting finished that way, I mean, Holly Holm was another example how she got finished.
hmm,
I think it was the second round that one. But I've seen Chael something talk something about her. Was I think she was more likely projecting to a certain extent
yeah,
because she does the same way whenever she changes from one sport to another. Like she was good in judo, but when she was done with judo, she was never went back. She was never coaching any of the athletes that they need a lot of help in that. Olympic team.
Hmm.
They can learn a lot of things from her. She was a bronze medalist in the Olympics, but she never went back to sport. When she was in the UFC in MMA, when she's on the top, she was great. She was getting all this promotion. She was getting offers anywhere, left and right. But when she lost that all the promotion. She got all those opportunities, and yet she had teammates that were fighting still in the UFC, but she never went back corner them. She never went to sport to give back to the sport that help build her legacy, her
Hmm.
name along the way. And then she went to WWE, do the same thing. She then got her money and she left. She never went back. And like trying to mentor any of the up and comer people that trying to be in WWE performing. And then she comes back and says that the fans are terrible because like they say that you and shit, but she like did all this three different careers, but she never gave back to those careers in which
Hmm.
made her who she is.
I think that definitely, yeah, without a doubt, that plays a role. It just, yeah, she was really good in her time, but yeah, like you're saying, she never really gave back. You never really heard of her like in her presence. I don't know. She never. I can't think of like interviews with her for UFC. I can't think of her coming back and like trying to commentate or anything like that. Um, I think another thing with her is it felt like she ran a little bit. It's like when she lost, she could not win again. Like she was just like completely beaten. And I feel like the legends of the sport have been beaten, but they come back and they prove that they can still come back from that. To me, that's a huge thing. Um, but it was like she was just completely beaten. She tried coming back, couldn't win, and so she just ran to the WWE and never came back. And it was like, okay, well, she's and in that time there was multiple very good like fights for her that would be very interesting to see her in that just never happened because she was gone
Yeah,
already.
yeah. And also, it's when the spotlight's not on her, she just take the ball and just take like the kid that takes the ball whenever you try in the middle of the game, you just run away, you take it home.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what she's like, seems like because you have other exciting fighters that were not run the rest of female fighters. You have
Hmm.
Joanna Jędrzejczyk along the way, Valentina
Hmm.
Shevchenko. You have Zhang Weili, Rose Namajunas. You have Amanda Nunes. Chris Cyborg came in there also as well. Those are
Exactly.
fighters that make not just one division, but the women's sport of itself. But showing like how the true potential, how good women were in the sport. But
Hmm.
as soon as the spotlight was not on her, she thought the fans weren't shit because they're ignoring her. Well, you went on to do a different career.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's why I feel like she got ignored is because she left completely. Like there was just gone. Like
Hmm.
I don't know that. Yeah, I'm not trying to take away from anything that she did. I mean, clearly she was phenomenal in her career, but I
Yeah,
just like I don't know, did not have the skills to really build good followers, I guess.
yeah. And she always had a chip on her shoulder most of the time.
Mm.
Follow her everywhere she goes. And also like Volkanovski, he's a great MMA fighter right now. But if he chooses to like retire and go into cooking, that he has a good following on cooking, he has a
Yeah.
different niche. Like, don't blame of fans not following you to a different hobby that you decide to do. Because I mean,
Right.
not everybody, well, everybody likes to eat, but not everybody likes to watch people just cooking. People like to see people fight. Doesn't
Hmm.
mean doesn't translate to your new career.
Yeah.
And blaming on the fans for not following you, because you decided to do something else.
Yeah.
That's not their fault. That you're the one that decided to switch careers.
Right. Right.
Another interesting point was what she said about Joe Rogan about he's not considered expert because he was a taekwondo guy. He never had a fight. Or do you agree with her? Like he shouldn't be considered expert.
No, no, not at all. I mean, I don't think you have to. That's like I don't know. I'm trying to think. That's like saying Faraz Sahabi's not an expert because he hasn't had any UFC fights, as far as I know. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
speaking out of turn, but uh,
yeah. Greg Jackson's no example. He never had an MMA fight.
yeah, you study the sport and you can become an expert without doing it.
Hmm.
That's I don't know. The logic just does. It's not there for me.
Yeah, Freddie Roach is not considered MMA expert, but he doesn't know anything about striking
Mhm.
because he's the boxing coach. He never was an MMA fighter.
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
translate that way.
I don't that would yeah. I don't know. Again, it just kind of feels bitter. You know what I mean? It just like
Yeah.
she isn't making it where she wants to be, so she's just trying to like lash out at everybody around her. And has she been on Joe Rogan's podcast? I'd be kind of surprised
Well,
if she hasn't.
I can't remember. I think she was because what's his name? His coach, her coach was there.
Mhm.
Um, Glendale Fight Club. I can't remember his name right now, but yeah, she was there with her coach
Yep.
whenever they were in the podcast. But that was like when she was in her prime.
Mhm.
But she's been since. I mean, she's doing something else. I mean, she's going back to rolling and things like that. Good for her.
Mhm.
Using it doing it as a hobby, but lashing at people because you're not having the spotlight for being the great that you are. Not many people are being celebrating for being great. Eventually, you retire from your own job. Doesn't matter how good you were in your job. They put somebody else in your position,
Right.
and that's the person that everybody's looking up to. You can't just go back to your job like, dude, what the fuck did they take my name off my parking spot? Like, dude, you retire.
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
else. They need another leader in this organization. You just get mad at them because they just move on.
Right. Right.
You can be bitter about them.
Yeah.
It
And
was
like,
weird.
yeah, it is so weird. Like, ah, it's kind of mind blowing to me. Somebody who's been in it as long as Joe Rogan, there's probably not many people who are as knowledgeable as he is about fighters and
Yeah.
fighting. Just it's so involved.
I think it's been like 28 years. I think 97, that's when he started.
Hmm.
Being I think it was a backstage or interview. You know, like Megan O'Leary, she does. That's
Yeah.
how he started. He was doing it for free
Yeah.
because he liked the sport.
Yeah. And besides the fact, not only, I mean, granted, didn't have any MMA fights, but he has studied Taekwondo. He was doing that at the top level. Uh, he's a black belt in jujitsu. Uh, who knows? I don't know of any other martial arts that he's done, but he's studied martial arts as well. And I feel
Yeah,
like in studying grappling and in studying striking, you have a glimpse of the mentality that goes into both of those aspects of fighting, which again, that just plays into him being an expert. You know what I mean?
yeah. He has a black belt in Nogi on the Eddie Bravo and a black belt on the John Jog Machado in Gi.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, black belt of the both of them,
Yeah.
Gi and Nogi. So I mean, those two guys right there.
Yeah.
And also, it speaks of the humility of Ronda Rousey because look at how she talks about him. He's not an expert. In what you call, look at because you said about Taekwondo. In he had experience of kicking. You ever heard that discussion about John Danaher? How it went about because GSP needed help on his spinning kick.
Hmm.
Look at how humble George St. Pierre, like a great in the sport of MMA. He was humble enough to ask Joe Rogan to teach him how to do the spin back kick.
Right. Yeah. It's, it's yeah. There's just like after example proving that he knows what he's talking about. He's not just he of all people doesn't really seem to talk out of his realm of knowledge. I think that's why so many people like him, is that he's willing to like seek other people's knowledge and doesn't speak out of uh if he doesn't know, he doesn't know. That's what it feels like anyway.
Yeah,
So
that's what you want to learn. But people, the sport MMA is MMA stands for mixed martial arts. So you have different martial arts which you have to learn along
hmm
the way. And if you want to learn something about, for example, learning a good kick, you go to somebody that's a taekwondo guy or somebody that's a Muay Thai guy. You want your hands to get better, you go to boxing guy, go to Jesse Perillo, go to Freddie Roach. That's what George Sapir did as well. No example.
hmm
Because that's how you can get better at that and how you can integrate it into your martial art repertoire. You're gonna
Yep.
get better in jujitsu. Danaher in the blue basement is a guy that you can bring to get you better in that. And then after that, you have of course you had your head coach, in which says a lot about Firas Sahabi about letting George St. Pierre train on all those people, even though he was his head coach, and put the game plan together.
hmm
Him, Greg Jackson, John Danaher, Freddie Roach, and all the other coaches that he like that. He had the Avengers of coaches in the corner, and he was able that's why he was to be so great in the sport because he was
Yep.
be humble to learn from all of them.
Right. Yeah. I don't picture GSP really having any obvious weakness in any of his games. You know what I mean? That that's pretty impressive. Not many people can say that, and it's got to be because of the coaching that he had from all different angles.
Yeah,
So,
especially like the only probably shaking his armor was with his takedowns and things like that at the beginning
mhm,
of his career. But look how great he started wrestling with the Canadian team, and he has some Russian nationalists coming and practice with them.
mhm,
And look how good his wrestling was, even though he never wrestled in high school, never wrestled in college. And he able like to take down all Americans at will when he started
yep,
to go against them.
yep,
Being humble enough to learn. That's important.
yes,
Without lashing out at other people because of your failures.
yeah, yeah.
Do you think that you will shack that up to feminine mentality?
What's that?
Do you think that's feminine mentality that you blame other people for your shortcomings? And you
Famine?
like, yeah,
Hmm. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
like for
Uh,
example, you're not that good and other people are doing great. And it's their fault that
hmm,
your shortcomings or just being miserable or just pity towards other people when they have no their success and you feel there's no direct correlation between both of them.
mhm. I mean, yeah, I feel like that's plays into a lot of it. I mean, maybe maybe that's why she runs from one sport to another. Is she gets a loss or gets something that maybe isn't very popular with a lot of people, and she's afraid that people are going to turn on her. I don't know, um, but it really, yeah. I feel like a lot of the reason that people look up to the athletes that they do is because those athletes can overcome a lot of stuff. Really, there's all like losses, stuff going on outside of fighting. Um, the ability to overcome adversity, I think, is an extremely admirable trait, and she didn't display that. I mean, phenomenally skilled, like absolutely, but yeah, just had a loss, and that was it.
Yeah. When she was on the top, and when she was on the top, she was always like wanted to be like center of attention, but also says a lot about some of her people that she went against. I mean, she beat Misha Tate. They made Misha Tate was able to build herself back up and then beat Holly Holm to become the champion
Hmm.
there, which is admirable on her part.
Right.
Since she got her arm ripped off by Ronda Rousey in
Yeah.
Strike Force, and she still found a way to become a champion in the UFC.
Hmm.
And Miss Admiral that she became, I think she was a vice president or something like that, spokesperson for One FC, and she came back. She still continued her career in the UFC. And a lot of people likes, well, some people like people seeing fail, but a lot of people seeing people fail and come back. That's like a
Mm,
hero story
exactly.
because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to build yourself up to be great and being awesome whenever you're doing great, but failing from grace and then building yourself back up. It takes a lot
Right.
to do that.
Right. Getting that momentum after being completely stopped in your tracks, it's even harder, I think. So, yeah. I it's yeah. And Joe, I don't know. It blows my mind. Like, why Joe Rogan of all people? Like,
I think because he's the most famous guy right now as far as like podcasts
yeah.
and comedy, and he has a lot of things going. I think I can't remember what kind of deal he had with Spotify because the first deal was $100 million
Hmm.
for 3 years. I think that's what it was. But now he had a new deal. I mean, he has a lot of good things going on for him. So I guess
Yeah.
that's easy for her to punch up and talk about somebody like that.
Hmm.
But it will it affect Joe Rogan's paycheck? Her opinion about him
Absolutely.
being an
Probably make
expert,
it better, to be honest.
is it going to affect his job in the UFC? Will he lose his job because of our opinion of him not being an expert? Uh, they've been in the organization for 28 years.
Right.
Um, can you say the same thing about other commentators? Like John Anik never had a fight in the UFC.
Yep.
Would you be considered not expert of the sport?
Yeah,
And the thing
right.
about it is, not like you have the thing about the commentators relationship. You have your play-by-play guy, and you have your color commentator, which Joe Rogan is considered a color commentator. And your play-by-play guy is the one that does announcement for like, oh, Jurassic Park coming out to you theaters this month. Like that's the you got those statistics in
Hmm.
which you have to make the difference between both of them too. That's that. In which you would think she will know about that being involved in the sport, not just in MMA, but also in like WWE and things like that.
Hmm.
You would think that she would know the ins and out about how the sport, rather than just being somebody that just goes out there performing, doesn't care about anything else,
Right.
nobody else. In which,
Mhm.
if that's the case, probably that shows why she has such a strong opinion about things going on without her knowing what's going on in the behind the
Right.
scenes of things.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, and then also, do you think also this correlates because we talk about the Cejudo? Remember when he was winning, he was like people on like were able to deal with his cringe. But do you think the same thing with Ronda Rousey when she was winning? The people dealt with her feud, her tantrum against her opponents, things like that. But now that she's not a winner, she's not winning. She's just doing tantrums that she has always had because it's her personality having feud against people. Do you think the same applies towards her?
That's a good point. I'm sure it does. Yeah, she's just not very likable when it comes down to it, you know? So, yeah, you're probably right on that. When she's a champion, when she's doing good, like absolutely I'll watch her, but yeah, when she can't win to save her life and she's still not likable, like oh, that's
Yeah,
far worse.
and blaming other people because she's not likable.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 I don't know. I mean,
She should do a
hopefully
seminar. She
she
should do a
can turn
seminar
stuff
with,
around.
yeah. Yeah, hopefully the turnaround will be her going around doing a seminar. But then
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
because same thing with his career too and
Hmm.
grappling. But he's
Yep.
bitter too, and he's talking trash to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. So true. He's good. He's very good, and like his videos and stuff, like his technique is really good. I'll watch that all day. But yeah, as a person, can't say I care for him too much.
Yeah, you have to separate the athlete from the personality of the person.
Hmm. Yep.
There's a difference. There's two different beasts of themselves. The personality of somebody. Some of the athletes that are good in some that are just terrible, but they were good in their sport,
Hmm.
in the avenue. I seen a podcast with Dominic Cruz about how he sacrificed so many things, so many relationships for him to be great. And he learned along the way that he had to learn how to turn that around to like, be able to like. He has new podcast now. It's on Love and War, and
Okay.
how he had to learn that by he making successful, being bitter and being that way, being competitive, being cutting out people out of his life to be good in the sport, but that doesn't apply for the rest of his life. Just having the same stubborn mentality of
Mm,
it doesn't like same approach doesn't really apply to everything in life to be successful in the rest of your life.
hmm. That huh. That is interesting. So he's like, hmm,
Because now he's best friend with Uriah Faber, somebody that he had a big vendetta against.
yeah.
Now they're hanging around and stuff like that.
That is always cool to see when, yeah, when you they can put that aside.
Hmm.
Um, does Yeah, I guess to me that's always made somebody a much more likable person is when they can, set those things aside. That's interesting. I never really thought about it.
Yeah, it takes humility to do that as well. Because
Yeah.
you see, you're like, dude, I'm being an asshole right now. Like, you need to tone it down a little bit. Or
Yeah.
not be such an asshole too.
Right.
Because it's not really the problem. Is not other people. It's just me being an asshole towards other. And then also show like the humor part of yourself too,
Mhm.
to a certain extent, to get you better. Oh, yeah, that's one thing I was thinking about. Like, yeah, having that approach of having just um the analogy of a hammer. If you're a hammer, every problem looks like a nail, and just keep just
Mhm.
destroying
Mhm.
everything. Just the same thing doesn't apply in life. Just like in jiu-jitsu, not everything is a takedown. Not everything is just trying to go submission for trying to go
Right.
for a arm bar from a leg attack. It doesn't apply.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, got to be adaptable there.
Hmm.
Um, Something I've also thought of, kind of back on the Joe Rogan topic. It's interesting to me that he doesn't even need to come out and make any direct comments to defend himself. I even just Googled it just to see if that's true, and uh, he hasn't made any like direct comments about it. But he's been defended. Like there's so many people defending him, fighters. It's kind of crazy. It's like when you build a
Yeah,
reputation like that, other people will do all the defending. You don't even have to do anything. It would
yeah,
look worse if he like lashed out and attacked her back, but he's like, okay, say what you want, doesn't matter.
yeah. Also, you think that shocks up to the maturity of how many relationship he had with different
Mm,
fighters in the organization as well.
yeah, yeah.
It's not the
Tell
first fighter that talk shit about him like that.
Right, yeah. Tell me he hasn't studied and developed relationships with the fighters when they come out and talk about they
Yeah,
defend him without him even asking.
yeah. The only thing that was weird was that the podcast was taking place was Bear Crusher, which is one of Joe Rogan's friends, but he never defended him that whole time.
Yeah, that was strange. But didn't when Rhonda say that he was like, whoa, whoa, I don't have any comments there or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he started squealing and laughing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
He always does. But he
yeah.
never like defended him like, no, you cannot say that about him. Like he's been doing for so long. But he never like defended him.
Right. I mean, yeah. I guess maybe that's tough for him because he doesn't really study fighting, does he?
No, he's mostly comedian.
Okay,
That's why you know Joe Rogan
that's
from just stand up part rather
that's
than that
that's what I thought.
MMA guy.
So maybe him defending wouldn't really mean that much because like what grounds does he have? And maybe that's what he felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a bit strange though.
Or maybe he just wanna surreal the dynamic of the interview itself too.
Mm, true. Yeah,
Because
I'm sure.
you don't
Nothing
wanna
like stopping an interview with conflict.
yeah, especially with Rhonda, that she holds
Yeah.
a
Oh
grudge.
gosh. Yeah.
Um, now, another event for current event for this week was Charles Oliveira. He was in I think Anthony Pettis' own organization for MMA. And Charles Oliveira was there. He called out Max Holloway for the BMF title. They wants to go against him and eventually try to fight for the lightweight title once again and trying to gain that as well. Do you think he has like new resurgence as far as um him in his career, not with a new nickname, the Predator? And do you think like he's friend now? So like let's back up. So you think what do you think about this? Do you think it's a dream matchup between the two?
For sure. Yeah, I think that's really a fun fight. Both very similar, feels pretty similar styles. I mean, Holloway I think is the better striker, but I mean Oliveira is no joke when it comes to it. Um, yeah, I think that's a pretty fun matchup.
Yeah, he's more like a pressure grappler too,
Right.
Oliveira. Um, but it would be interesting to see both of them going against each other. I would think Oliveira will be a little bit bigger, but Max Holloway these days he looks pretty big too,
Hmm.
filling into the 155
Yeah.
weight. Um, Speaking of, will you be considered this Oliveira's comeback story? If he does come back, wins the BMF title and wins the lightweight title.
For sure. Yeah. No doubt there. Yeah, he's been a while building up, but I do feel like he's prepping to really take over. You know what I mean?
If it does happen, like, it will be like crazy comeback for
Hmm.
him. Do you think he's trying to prove that he's elite, or he's just chasing legacy at this moment?
I feel like he's chasing legacy. You know, I feel like he's already proven that he's elite. To be honest with you, um, yeah. Why wouldn't he do that? It would just improve his reputation. It would improve. Yeah, to me, yeah, that it makes sense. To me, he doesn't have a lot left to prove. I think, and those would be pretty good accolades. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially he already has the record for most finishes and also for most performances of the night bonus.
Yeah, yeah,
It's kind of
exactly.
like how elite he is.
Which
Um,
is another reason to give him a shot at the BMF. You know what I mean? Most fight of the nights, like yeah, that's definitely worthy of that belt.
yeah. BMF
So
worthy.
exactly.
What do you think about the belt itself? Like how it started as a gimmick and now respected as a fan favorite title?
I'll admit that the my mind has changed on it. When I first heard of that, I didn't like it at all. I thought that was going to be so trash. Um, but it's kind of turned into a way that legends can keep going. It almost feels like, you know what I mean? If they, even if they don't have like a chance at like being the title shot, the BMF belt can bring about some really good matchups that you
Yeah.
wouldn't normally see.
Yeah. Fan favorite and also fighters that people like
Hmm.
to see go against each other.
Exactly. Yep. The people that Ronda Rousey is jealous of.
Yeah. um, what do you think about reinvention after loss? Like you can front from the top but still climb back with purpose, which it seems like he's doing. He has a new kid too, new baby,
Hmm. Hmm.
Oliveira, in which I think because Oliveira wasn't like a consistent fighter at the beginning of his career, I think he had like a 50-50 like wins and losses in UFC. And I think
Hmm.
he had his daughter, something just flipped. And that's the two Bronx that show up and became a champion, like a mauler destroying people.
Hmm.
And do you think that you can chalk that up to him being his new uh, motivation for his career now?
I could see how it could be.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't have kids, so I don't know
Mhm.
exactly how that feels, but I would imagine that could be, you know, you're holding that little tiny life in your arms, and it's like, yeah, I could definitely see how that would be a huge motivator to, train hard. Um, because in reality, like, yeah, the fights are for sport, but the skills can be used elsewhere. And I could see
Mhm.
convincing yourself that I have to do this to protect them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a way to use that as a motivation. And yeah, for sure, I could see that being
Yeah.
very
And
effective.
you also you like I cannot back up now. I cannot back down. I cannot give up. Like
Hmm.
people are looking up to me. I think this one
Yes.
because he had a daughter. I think this is his son. He has a son now, if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken. The new
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
So who do you think wants it more, Oliveira's redemption or Holloway's legacy in this BMF matchup?
Ooh. Ooh. That's tough.
Because
What are
both of
your
them,
thoughts on that?
you have to consider both of the lost against the lightweight champion currently in their weight class
Hmm.
against Topuria.
Mm.
Um, and they are pretty long in the tooth as far as in their career. But Charles Oliveira, he looks like he had taken more tolls in his career. So I think it would be more impressive if Charles Oliveira beat Max Holloway. The Max
Hmm.
Holloway at one point he was just running the 145 weight class.
Hmm.
I cleared I think twice. Beat Jose Aldo twice, Korean Zombie, he beat Brian Ortega, all them until he run to Volkanovski.
Hmm.
And so he was pretty dominant in his weight class. But Oliveira he had rough beginning and then finally found his groove and then fell again against Makachev and short loss against Amran and then build himself up and then losing against Topuria for the title. So like
Hmm.
that says a lot about him. That would be um I think Oliveira wants him more than Holloway at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. I could see that. I mean, yeah, that's definitely valid. Um, yeah, that's yeah, true. I I feel like Holloway would have it, uh, personally. But it is true. I mean, if Oliveira is hungry enough, it that might be the thing that turns the tables. Because
Mhm.
it's not an uneven matchup by any means, but I do feel like Holloway has a bit of the edge, just a little bit. I don't know, more consistently better. Um, but yeah, that would be a very interesting title fight.
Yeah. He's pretty ambitious as far as Oliveira for the
Hmm.
title, especially going for the lightweight right after that. Like, dude, focus on this one first. You can there's a thing I always say that you cannot give 100% if you're doing three things at the same time. Just focus on this first and then just work on something else later.
Yes, that's true.
And you don't know who's gonna be the champion at 155 or when if he wins the BMF title.
Hmm.
It might be Michael Chandler, might be the champion.
Yeah.
And be able to beat him for the third time. Um, before wrapping up, I want to talk a little bit of grassroots and the future of the sport starts like this weekend at UNC Pembroke. The UNC Pembroke hosting the second PJ Smith Open. It used to be the Pembroke Classic. It's been over 40 years. Um, they changed the name last year after the passing of the great coach PJ Smith.
Hmm.
He wanted to bring the event to the South because he wanted to have develop the sport of wrestling in the South. Um, this is a big uh, a regional tournament that helped develop the wrestling culture alive, an opportunity for young athletes. Because in order for you to be in the event, you don't necessarily have to be a college athlete. You can sign up as a unattached wrestler and compete in there too. Um, in like we have discussed before about how college wrestling and how it ties to MMA pipelines. Being was the Division 2 champion, Kamaru Usman. Look how he became great in the UFC.
Hmm.
This guy was a JUCO national by the name of John Jones. Iowa Central. It has also that. sport itself, in this environment builds discipline and toughness. And I just want to give a shout out. It's gonna be November 9th. It's gonna be the event. And about how this event itself, how the big dreams start in small gyms like this one. And how consistency of local tournaments build like the next athletes, um that who they are. Just like in, like we always make fun of Naga, but we have a lot of athletes that have to go to the tournament so you can get their first win of confidence to build up to be that great athletes that they are now. Um, Also, you know, shout out to the team UNC Pembroke, the Braves. Um, but that's all I have for today for today's episode. You have anything else?
No, good to go.
Okay,
Covered it.
you gonna close us out?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed the cast. Let us know what you think. Give us a listen on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeartRadios, and iTunes. Give us a follow on Instagram. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, and yeah, I'll hopefully see you guys next time.